Yes, friends, what's poppin'? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host Jan. I hope you're doing well. Really do hope that Chelsea are in an injury crisis. That's right, 10 players, 10 double digits listed on the Chelsea FC website as unavailable, and we're going to go through these 10 players in just a moment. They are important and expensive players. Chelsea, of course, faced the Toon this weekend, or actually on Monday. A Newcastle United side who has just won 3-0. Pochettino has spoken to the media and referenced how he feels about the Boo Boys and the bad feeling towards the management at the moment. I'm going to talk about the injuries, a little bit about Poch, who can actually play against Newcastle, and how I'd set up in what is an injury crisis. And there's lots to get into in between, so thanks for joining me. Thank you for continuing to support the content. Super simple, just drop a like on the video, and why not subscribe? If you dig it, if you keep coming back, you may as well hit subscribe and hit the bell so that you get notified. Alright then, let's hop into the content. It's worth mentioning as well, Chelsea have put out a statement on their finances. There's been articles written about this as well. I may choose to do a video on this tomorrow. Keep it locked, of course. Chelsea remain confident they are not in breach of any financial sustainability rules. We'll see what happens there, so keep it locked to Chelsea news. But in the meantime, we're talking about the squad, the manager, and this game against Newcastle. So yes, indeed, Pochettino spoke to the media today. He pretty much said a bunch of things. I kind of understand what he's saying. I don't really want to criticise his responses. I'll criticise his underperformance as a manager generally, although I do think somewhere along the line we've kind of jumbled our expectations of what we should expect. I still personally see underperformance from this manager, Mauricio Pochettino, especially by his standards, which are supposed to be high. But he's trying to keep everything together, keeping the players happy below him, keeping the management and the hierarchy happy above him, and he's addressing the media and essentially saying, yeah man, of course the fans aren't happy, maybe I'd be the same if I was in their position as Chelsea fans, and what I'd expect. Pochettino doesn't necessarily think the results have been that bad, and he sees positives in the Chelsea players' performances, but understands why the Chelsea fans are reacting how they are. Very diplomatic. He's meant to be quite an empath, Mauricio Pochettino, quite an emotionally intuitive or emotionally intelligent guy. Basically, I understand what he's saying. Though it feels by many he's overly defending what he thinks are better performances, but I guess he's not going to come out and go, yeah, it's pretty bad really, isn't it? Yeah, I understand what they're booing because we're not good and it's bad. So it's bad, so I get it, yeah. He's not going to do that, is he? Before we talk about Chelsea and the injury crisis, let's talk about Newcastle United a little bit. Last game out, they beat Wolverhampton Wanderers 3-0 at home with a goal from Alexander Isak, Anthony Gordon and Tino Livramento in stoppage time. Hey, I remember him. I can't work out if Wolves are good or not. Of course, they beat us handily, but that doesn't really tell you anything. As you can see here, Eddie Howe deployed his 4-3-3 formation. Pretty darn strong lineup here if you look at these players. This can't be too far off Eddie Howe's preferred starting 11, and when you see our injury list in just a moment, might be concerned. So yeah, a strong Newcastle United side available to be selected from Eddie Howe. Also, they're coming off a 3-0 win with a former Chelsea player scoring. So yes, I'm terrified. Newcastle United, much like Chelsea, have had issues this season, ups, downs, left, rights. Don't really know where they are, but when they're coming off a result like that, and Chelsea are, well, Chelsea, you do fear for us, don't you, ladies and gentlemen? So let's take a look at this aforementioned injury list and see where we are. So, ladies and gentlemen, here is said list. Carney Chukwuemeka, Benoit Badiashile, Ben Chilwell, Levi Colwill, Conor Gallagher, Wesley Fofana, Reece James, Romeo Lavia, Christopher Nkunku, and Leslie Ugochukwu. Now, every single one of these players on this list are really good. At a push, you could say Leslie Ugochukwu is a rotational player that you sort of want to utilise as a utility man. And of course, Carney Chukwuemeka, a young player, but Carney looked really, really effective and useful. But everyone else on this list could be a top tier player. And, you know, some of them really expensive players like Nkunku and Lavia. That is a massive list of injured players. Now, Conor Gallagher's been out with illness as opposed to injury. That guy seems to never get injured, which is absolutely incredible considering how he plays, like blood and thunder, running forever. You think a guy like that will get injured more, but no, his injury record's immaculate, which is superb. But he's ill, so he's not training. There is a chance, I guess, if he trains, like today or tomorrow, that maybe he can play. But Conor Gallagher, a lot of his positivity is from his energy. And if that's not there, I don't know, man. But knowing Pochettino, and there's an air of desperation about him at the moment, kind of understandably, if there's a chance he can put him in, I think he's going to throw him in. Personally. Right, so bear in mind those 10 absent players and how high their profile is. We've got to build a starting 11 here for this game against Newcastle, and I've done that, and I'm going to put it up on the screen now. As you can see, I'm sticking to a back three formation. It sort of worked, sort of didn't work last time out. It was a bit meh, but I think in the circumstances, we've got to go with it. Of course, Georgi Petrovic will remain in goal, and with Benoit Badiashile and Levi Colwill out, joining Wesley Fofana on the injury bench, I'm going with this back three, because heck, I don't have much of a choice. Thiago Silva in the middle of a back three, like Thomas Tuchel did, being protected by two younger players. Axel Disasi to play on the right centre-back. Of course, he's played on the right of Thiago Silva a lot. And Trevoh Chalobah, who's looking like he's going to be more and more necessary or more and more useful as the season burns out. I'm going to put him on the left-hand side. Of course, he's more used to being on the right. If anything, he's played as a right-back. But, desperate measures. Still, those three should be a pretty solid defence, I think, and they'll protect Thiago Silva, who can play a little bit of a regista role. He should be rejuvenated and good to go, and that's a pretty strong back three, if you ask me. Now, our player of the moment, of course, is Malo Gusto, and a positive of playing a wing-back system is your full-backs can be more adventurous and get forwards more and put in more crosses. Malo Gusto's been immaculate with his service of late, so yes, we can utilise Gusto as a right wing-back in this formation, and because you're playing a back three and you've got the cover of a young centre-back like Trevoh Chalobah, I am going to play Raheem Sterling as a left wing-back. Much like Graham Potter did. Do you remember when he was playing Sterling as a wing-back for a while? Now, if you said to me, Jan, what are your designs for the 23-24 Premier League campaign? I am not saying a back three system with Raheem Sterling at left back. No, sir. But in this instance, I think it's appropriate. Look, I think Mark Cucurella is returning from injury. He could theoretically play there, and of course, profile-wise, it makes sense. But the fact how he hasn't played any football yet, I wouldn't want to start him in a Premier League game just yet. In fact, if anything, I'd play him in the left centre-back role where I've put Trevoh Chalobah in this lineup. But yes, you could play him at either left centre-back or left wing-back should you want to. I just don't want to in this instance. I feel like if Raheem Sterling is going to put his big boy trousers on and run back and track back, it might make sense. And actually, it corresponds with the front line a bit better as well. In the middle, because I'm going for a 3-4-3 formation, which is, of course, is Antonio Conte, Thomas Tuchel style. In the absence of Conor Gallagher, I am just going to play Moises Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez in a double pivot, which means I'll play a full front three of attackers. Look who's come to visit! For those who haven't seen Mia in a while, she's absolutely massive now. Meow, meow, meow. Chelsea gonna lose. Don't say that. So yes, I'm going for a front three of attackers rather than the two, like a 3-5-2. I'm going to start Mykhailo Mudryk on the left wing. Now, a lot of criticism of Mudryk is he doesn't track back, he can't do the defensive work. But in this instance, not only is he going to have a left wing back behind him in Raheem Sterling, he's also going to have a centre back in Trevoh Chalobah. So, that gives you all the defensive cover you should need, theoretically, and you can just let Mykhailo Mudryk run wild and hopefully attack and express himself and do the great things that he is capable of. I'm going to keep Nico Jackson as a centre forward. Of course, he scored last time out and he's our only option. And yes, no discussions at right wing. Cole Palmer will start there, of course. And interestingly, of course, in a 3-4-3 formation, the wingers kind of tuck inside a little bit as a sort of inside number 10, much like Mason Mount did, of course, when he played under Thomas Tuchel at Chelsea. So that might actually suit Cole Palmer playing in those half spaces, the hybrid role, right wing, number 10, which is both of Cole Palmer's positions put together. And you could say something similar for Mykhailo Mudryk, actually. Of course, recently been deployed as a number 10 by Pochettino. Looks pretty good there. In this formation, he's tucking inside a little bit anyway, so it's quite a narrow front three where they can interlock and hopefully break down what might be a Newcastle low block there. So that's my lineup. Let's move on and talk about the game. Predicting a Chelsea result at the moment is just so tough. In fact, we're more often than not bad then good, hence the league table showing us in the bottom half, which of course is an absolute sickener. Yeah. Newcastle have been blowing hot and cold all season, but of course they're coming off a really, really good result. 3 goals and a clean sheet. They'll be feeling good. They've got loads of their first choice players to select from. We do not have that. We have been playing bad, but maybe these players still have something to prove. Look, the Brentford game for me was a massive, massive downer. I know in the grand scheme of things, coming back to get a point away at a club that has proven to be difficult for a lot of big teams in the last 2 years isn't like necessarily like a tragic result. But for me, it was just such a bad moment. It was a worse moment than like the cup final. I don't know. I really, really am concerned. The truth is the manager isn't going to be sacked, of course. He'll be evaluated at the end of the season. But whether you're Pochettino in or Pochettino out, we have to follow these players now and evaluate who they are. The manager is almost secondary at this point. I'm looking at the squad, the players, the performances, and going, can you play for Chelsea? Can you play with each other? Like, can you play at this level? Do you know what I mean? What is your dedication to the cause, to the badge, the crest, your own professionalism in what is the highest level of football in the Premier League? That is what I'm looking at now, because essentially they're the assets for Chelsea. All these like news stories coming out about Chelsea's financial situation. Well, they will be one way or another. They'll be banking on these investments, these young players, serving them long term and essentially coming good and playing well. So for me, Poch isn't really under the microscope anymore. He'll probably go in the summer, I think, unless we have a big turnaround of form. But I'm kind of like meh. Either way, like whether he stays or goes, because for me, at the moment, it's the other stuff that counts. The players on the pitch, how they perform, can they play together, can they keep up a performance? This whole injury, problem is absolutely insane. That has to be evaluated and audited in the summer by the club. And we're led to believe there's already been these evaluations and audits of the medical department, yet here we are with 10 first-teamers out, which is absolutely insane. But when it comes to the game, let's do a score prediction then. I'm just going to say a Chelsea 2-1 win, because I want Chelsea to win. And I think we can. I think if we play a back 3 formation again, be defensively resolute and try to optimise the wing-back positions and, let someone like a Mudryk and Cole Palmer express themselves. The talent is there to do it, and if you give them the protection of a back 3 system, maybe we'll see it. But who knows, Pochettino might not go for a back 3 system again. He might play, Gusto left back, Disasi right back, and then of course Chalobah and Silva in a back 4. That's a highly likely scenario. Maybe he does risk Marc Cucurella and starts him for the first time since his return from injury. We'll have to see what happens. But do let me know what you think. Please do comment down below. I love reading your comments here on Football Therapy. The discussion in the comment section is always great. Thanks again for joining me. Videos every day. If you dig it, please do subscribe to the channel. Like, comment, share, all the lovely supportive stuff that you guys do. Please keep doing it. Hopefully, I'll see you back here soon. Peace.